said, I'd like to highlight before I come to the three main points I would like to share with the Honorable Minister. That Mr. Sinhaji talked about the UDAN scheme. Yes, it's a very good scheme. But just to highlight a connectivity issue that I go through in my own state is Aurangabad. Aurangabad is one of the old airports which India has had. The connectivity from Delhi, we have 6 flights coming to Aurangabad. But locally, from Mumbai or Pune to Aurangabad, there's only 1 flight. And the reason for connectivity of Aurangabad is critical because it's a huge MIDC which was probably formed 20 years ago because it was a good area with good connectivity, as well as Ellora Ajanta. So at one time you're talking about tourism, but if Aurangabad airport is underutilized, I think it's really a very sad state of affairs. So I'd like to request the Honorable Minister to step in and see how we can improve that particular connectivity. And when you talk about UDAN and better connectivity, I think this is where we really need to look into and step in. And my only concern about UDAN is not criticizing, like Pinaki Mishra, I'm not against you diluting or selling Air India at all. As long as the staff and people who have put their entire life in building that brand are protected. So my point is, if you do sell Air India, at what cost are you going to sell it? It's going to probably, at the way the civil aviation industry globally is, I'm sure there's going to be huge losses even for the government. So what are you going to do? Is this the right time to do it? Or is it a better time because you have a very good CEO now who did a very good job in railways? So why not have some faith in your own team and think, hold up. Oh, he's gone now, new one has come. So if you could step in, I'm sure he's also good. Why should we show no faith in our people? So why don't you step in, and if there is a private airline, I mean, he talked about several aircrafts being bought. Are those bought by Air India or those hundreds of aircrafts are bought by private airlines? I'm not against privatization at all. I think it's wonderful. It's about serving customer risking and let markets decide. But at such a background, if you sell Air India, will UDAN scheme still exist? The heart what a government has, clearly somebody who's making profit is not going to have. So if you could kindly clarify what your lines are. I know I'm short of time, so I will not go through too many points of which are critical, but there are 3 main points I'd like to highlight. Sir, all these airlines today, you'll have to restructure their loans. For the reason that A, the fuel prices, I will not repeat, you know what the situation of the fuel prices is. If you're flying abroad, it's only 4 to 5%. But within India, are you going to bring it in the gambit of GST? But if you do bring it, I need clarity of your policy because the states will bleed. Anyway, you owe, like my state, 15,000 crores in GST. Now, what your decision you're going to take for the fuel, where will you put and where will our social sector programs come from? So what is the thinking of this government about the fuel? Because fuel is one of the reasons how these airlines are bleeding. I don't have to share the numbers with you. You are more aware than I am. But globally, it's 18 to 20% maximum for foreign fuel is only 4%. But within India, it's 30 to 50% depending on which state we are flying in. That's one point. The second is about the banking. Now, the principal interest, think about it, sir. Right now, all the airlines are bleeding. But banking, the bank is not going to wait for the monies to be paid. They could probably tell a creditor or a supplier that I'll pay you a little later. How is it going to work? So how are you going to, because there'll be more airlines getting shut now because of Corona and so many. The economy is not doing well at all. I don't need to tell you that. You know numbers better than me in that case. So what are you going to do to make sure that they are alive? Third thing is the MRO, Maintenance and Repair Organization, bringing in all this. The infrastructure, I'm aware that the GST was at 18%, which you have brought down to 5%. I'm aware of that. But while you brought it down to 5%, how are you going to set this up? When are you? Because even today, if an airline flies 5,000 hours, still got to go to Singapore because we don't have the infrastructure that this government has committed for. So how are you going to resolve these 3 issues and make sure the airline industry survives in this crisis time? There are one last point is you are bringing in all this. I need 2 small clarifications from you. That there are now drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, the UAVs. What is the safety, security, and the privacy of these 3? So will they come under this gambit, or is there be a new legislation? Is something if you could kindly clarify. And one last point, these airlines, there was a comedian who was banned from one airline. Now, even the people in the press do this to politicians all the time. I can line you up 6 examples with. I agree, what was done was wrong. But if one airline has banned him, there was suddenly, I don't know what happens, the pin started rolling and about 6 airlines immediately banned him. Was that fair to a customer? I mean, even if he did it, I agree he made a mistake. But isn't there a rule of for all these kind of behaviors, you could kindly clarify, because immediately 3 people took stand and said, oh, we are all banning it. So I hope there's no political pressure on these kind of situations, because I think this industry needs to survive. Even the poor people, as Jan Sinha ji said, that chappal wala wo UPA ke time mein bhi jata tha. A lot of affordable airlines was started, and as we all aware, that governance is something about continuity. So it was something that we inherited from you, then you inherited from us. So it is something that I think this aviation department needs to survive. It's going through a very, very difficult time, and the government will have to step in. We've lost Jet Airways, we've lost Kingfisher for whatever the reasons. But I think we really need to help this. Otherwise, India, if we go at this rate, there will be no airlines in this country. Thank you.
माननीय सांसद श्री राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी।